play a video for you that I found. This is about the Grand Blanc church shooter, and this is actually a politician that says he was going door to door and to strum up support for his upcoming election, I would imagine. Let me see if I see his name. So he's a Burton City Council candidate. For some reason, it doesn't give his actual name in this video. So I'm not familiar with the channel, the YouTube channel, Dave Bondi. I just saw that he had spoken with a man that says that he spoke with a man that turned out to be this Grand Blanc church shooter. So I'm going to just go ahead and play the video. I'll let you be the judge. So let's go ahead and get that going.
Hello, everyone. I'm talking to Chris right now, and you contacted me a short time ago. Pretty distraught because actually, earlier today, you came to the realization that you say that you talked to the person who did this horrible thing in Grambling Township.
I did last week. It was Wednesday or Thursday. I'm running for city council and I'm canvassing, and I had an address on my map that I went to, and I came across a gentleman. He was very friendly, and he had interacted positively with me, and we got out of the vehicle. We started just to talk, and after a short while, the conversation went to the Church of Latter-day Saints, Mormonism, and he just made the position multiple times that Mormons are the Antichrist, and he, in not so many terms, said that several times. He gave me his background, but I just walked away from a person who had some very sharp views about Mormons.
Yeah, so you were just out campaigning for the election in November coming up, I'm assuming?
That is correct.
And so you're just shaking hands, looking to meet people. You come across his door. Have you matched it up? Is it the address the same as this person? Have you looked?
It is, yes. I mean, it is not only is the address, but it's also the person that I spoke with. I have a friend in Utah who is involved with the LDS Church. I sent him a voice message saying I had a conversation with a person who had very sharp views, and it's just like you come across a lot of different people while you campaign. Yeah. And I shared this with him on Friday, and then we had our Sunday dinner, and I ended up seeing a photo. That was the exact guy I spoke to last week.
So you saw the guy, and I'm not the shooter. You saw his picture on the news or on social media, and what was your first reaction?
Shock. I mean, to have just interacted with a person who, again, he had very sharp views. And when we first started speaking, very positive. We just made just general chit chat, and then he went to his background, how he was a Marine, he had served overseas. And again, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm just going from memory, but he, to start new, had moved out to Utah to plow snow. He then began a relationship with a woman who was in the LDS Church. And then the conversation changed to tattoos, which he had a lot of, and how he had to have all his tattoos removed in order to be, for certain religious ceremonies. And it was just a piece where I was very careful how I answered, because it's one of those things where I did not know what response was going to be acceptable to him.
So if you're just coming in, I'm just going to give a quick little recap. So what this man is saying, I see his name now. His name is Chris Johnson, spelled with a K. And he's a Burton City Council candidate. So he was saying that he was canvassing in the area just days before this church shooting happened. And he was knocking on doors. And he says that when he saw who the person was that did the church shooting, he recognized the guy. He said he recognized him. He knew exactly who he was because he talked to him at length. And as they talked, he began to express some problems that he had. He's saying sharp views, but he's saying he, really did have these opinions about the Mormon church. It wasn't good. He talked about dating a woman within the Mormon church. He would have to cover his tattoos to go to service. Apparently he didn't like that. And then he got all the way to the point of saying that he believes that the Mormon church is the Antichrist. So that's where he's coming from. Now, I just thought about this. I saw some photos of this guy where he's with a woman and holding a baby, but you never know who that woman and child is or how long ago that was or anything like that. I would imagine that's probably not the woman who is a part of the Mormon church and the child, because he certainly didn't say that he had a child with this person. But that's where he is with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue back on, but I just kind of wanted to bring y'all up to speed if you just stopped in.
And so it was a case of like, I just wanted to get off the door and away from him.
So you just wanted to be nice and say, okay, have a nice day.
Exactly, and just try to do it the easiest way possible while kind of just walking, one step at a time. And again, when I first started, my daughter was with me. She was in the car because we're, driving from house to house. He was very nice. I mean, he was extremely nice. My daughter has special needs. She reached out to him. He held her hand. He was extremely. He talked about his child who had a serious medical concern and how just the care there.
Yep.
For whatever reason, the conversation shifted from chit chat into what are your thoughts about the Church of Latter-day Saints. And again, my cousin played football at BYU. I have friends who, so I have a history with BYU and the Mormon Church. You don't know what you're going to say that could potentially cause a reaction. So I kept my views to myself and just walked away.
So at no time did you feel there wasn't any threatening or violence? It was just kind of you thought off the wall kind of talking.
Exactly. It wasn't like next week, this Sunday I'm going to do. It was more of a case of just views that were shared.
Hi, Franklin. Thanks for stopping in.
Away from was a person who was very animated and it mentioned
Yeah, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Okay. And obviously troubling, but nothing that you would need to alert police for anything.
No, I mean, not to say just in pop culture, but if you listen to enough YouTube, social media, like you hear different views on either side. And so it wasn't anything that I would say was violence inducing, but just people of all stripes have very sharp views. And I was like, okay. And I just, again.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for stopping in.
Very semi-indirect relationship with the Church of Latter-day Saints. And I just kept those views to myself and just.
Again, quick break. If you're just stopping in, this is a person that says that he spoke to this church shooter just days before this incident happened. His name is Chris Johns. You can look this up on YouTube. He's on someone's channel by the name of Dave Bondy. So shout out to Dave Bondy. I don't know anything about his channel, but that's where I'm looking at this from. Chris Johnson is a Burton City Council candidate. So he was going around talking to people in the area to get support for an upcoming election. And he says that he remembers speaking to this man at length, Sanford. He said he spoke to him for a good while. He eventually got around to talking about the Mormon church, the LDS church. And he strongly, had some really strong views in opposition to the church. He had been dating a woman from the church. He didn't like certain things about it. And he got all the way to the point of saying, this guy says several times that he says he believes this church is the Antichrist. So that's where this man is coming from. Again, he seems like a reputable source to me. Chris Johns, running for city council there in Burton.
Very carefully walked away.
Okay, so and you are saying that you are 100% sure this is the same individual.
Hey, Karaoke
too.
last week? Thanks for stopping in.
Yes, it was last Wednesday or Thursday. Dave, 1,000,000% I spoke with him. I can where his house is. I had the conversation. Yes.
Okay. A lot of people want always to know in these horrible situations why someone does this. So in your mind, this maybe answers that question?
It has to be. I mean, there was very little political talk when we spoke. Dave, I mean, outside of just like, hey, how are you? How's the weather? It immediately shifted towards his thoughts on the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah. How you live in the community. How sad is this? Because I got the call this morning. I heard about it. just hard to believe. I mean, I live about a half hour north of where you're at, and I went down there. It's just really hard to believe right now that this actually happened in your hometown.
It's insane because my daughter, she has a therapist that's on McCandless Road, so we know the area. And again, I was in church when we had a friend who lives in St. Louis. He shared the message with us, and we're reading it in church. And I'm looking, I where my seat is, I'm next to the window. I'm looking out the window. I don't know if this is part of a larger coordinated issue. And I go to Solid Rock Community Church, and we're very vigilant about safety. And I'm just looking out the window because you don't know what could be happening. And then I came home this afternoon, and I see a photo of him. 1,000,000% that was the gentleman I spoke with last week.
Yeah, really. I mean, a sad situation all around. And when I was working on the news, I couldn't say this, but I think we all need to pray for not only everyone there and the first responders. I was seeing police. I was seeing FBI literally almost in tears having to see these things in person. So I think we need to pray for everybody because this country, it's unnerving.
It's very scary, and we just don't. When you first hear about it, you didn't know what direction, and then you come to this. And I think what I want to reinforce that this is not a blue or red issue. This is 100% personally held beliefs, and again, this gentleman kind of told me about his past and about the ups and the downs. And
did he go into his military background at all, or no?
Well, he said he was a Marine and that he was deployed overseas. I don't know if it was Iraq or Afghanistan, but he was of that age where it was in the probably early 2000s. And again, he spoke about just some experiences with drug use and making, he said, I'm going to make a change. And he moved. I don't know how. Again, we're just doing this in the driveway. So it's very.
Someone you just met.
We just met, but he was one of those people where he was very animated, very outgoing, and he just shared. And with that, he just, in a nutshell, said, I was looking for a change. I moved to Utah, and then things happened. And I can't substantiate what other things I've heard, but just his experience with the Mormon church led him to have some very sharp views.
Okay. And like you said, you are, there's no way for me to confirm what you're saying, but you told me you did reach out to someone else with these concerns like days ago. So you're 100% sure. And it's just, prayers go out to everyone because this is just a sad situation. But thank you for talking because it helps people maybe wrap their mind around it a little bit. So, and obviously we're not in his head. I don't know but this gives us an idea of maybe what was going on.
Exactly. And that's the piece too, where I was a total stranger. This was just a house on a street that I had marked to talk to. And I went and again, it was a very positive, engaging conversation to start. And then it did shift. But in regards to this, like just in terms of this, I have a friend who is involved with the Church of Latter-day Saints in Orem, Utah. I sent him a voice message on Facebook last Friday, recounting my experience with a gentleman who had some very sharp views. And I shared that with you as well. So it's a timestamp. I mean, this is not a day of advantageous piece. Like, I documented this with my friend.
Yeah, and you are is it a current city council, or what's the position you're running for?
Well, I'm a candidate for city council in Burton, so that's why I was going across the city, reaching out to people who had voted in the primary.
So just to break in here, he's saying, I guess he's wanting to say when he talks about this in maybe further interviews, he's going to be able to show where he had reached out to a friend of his that is a part of the Mormon church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So he says he reached out to this friend of his after having this conversation with this man because it was so disturbing. And he had, I guess he called him, maybe he did a text exchange? I don't know. But he's saying that he can definitely document talking to his friend that he knows after he talked to this man and he told him how sort of disturbing it was, or not even sort of disturbing, but he said that this man was very convinced that this church is the Antichrist. And so he is, he's saying he has documentation for that. He's not just doing this as a, sort of trying to go viral with it or whatnot.
Mary and reaching out for the upcoming general election.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you. Like I said, we're going to pray for everyone, and I appreciate you giving the insight. Just thank you so much.
Marjorie.
Okay. All right then. So that's what he had to say about that. I just wanted to let you guys or make you guys aware of that. If you hadn't already heard about that, there is this one person that's running for city council. He's saying that from his discussion with this man, he doesn't believe this had anything to do with politics. He said he believes it's all coming from this particular man having grievances with the LDS church. And basically, he's not someone who has always been in the LDS church. Chris Johns is saying that the guy is someone who was dating a LDS member. And so from dating that LDS member, and all the things that he found out about the church while he was in there, he keeps saying he has sharp views, but he did say a couple times that the guy believes the church is the Antichrist. And that's potentially where his head was at when he did this horrendous act. So so that's that on that, and that's all I have to say about it. I just wanted to bring you all that update from someone who is saying that he just talked to the guy days ago, and he is a reputable source running for city council, I would imagine. Put my disclaimer in there, I would imagine. I don't know any of these folks, but this is what he's saying. So y'all can look him up. Guy running for Burton City Council there in Michigan. And I thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.